Ladies and gentlemen, there has been an update of sorts regarding the PlayStation 4's blue light of death, or flashing blue light of death, or whatever the heck you want to call it. Sony have offered a plethora of new solutions, and I imagine for many users it's probably coming at about the right time and probably a bit too late. Now, I'm sure many of you have been keeping up with this news. There have been about 1 million PlayStation 4s that have so far been announced to be sold within the first 24 hours anyway. And despite the fact that Sony claim that the failure rate is really low, 0.4%, although it hasn't been updated yet, so who the heck knows, Sony have basically said that the problem they could figure out so far is one of 4 issues. So pretty much, the symptoms associating with the blinking blue light are simple. You'll have, well, a blinking, blue light. You won't have any audio or sound, and the console will power off after a certain amount of time. And they've basically said it could be one of 4 things. The first is TV compatibility. Issues with the PS4's power supply. You could have issues with the hard drive, or there could be issues with the PS4's hardware, so whatever that may be. So the first one, the TV compatibility, all you can do is basically update the firmware on your television and hope for the best. There's also been power supply troubleshooting. That pretty much goes down to the fact that you can actually turn off the power you can touch the power button, on the front of your PS4 for 7 seconds. The system will beep a few times. You disconnect the AC power cord from the electrical outlet, and then after that, if it doesn't work, they would then recommend that you try another compatible AC cord. For example, like one from the PS3. Obviously, you'll just have to look and check it out and make sure that it works and all the right voltages and all of that good stuff. A hard drive is pretty simple again. Once again, follow exactly the same steps. So switch it off, unplug it, and blah blah blah. But after you've done that, basically slide out the hard drive, and then after you've done that, or should I say, remove the hard drive bay cover, and then once you've done that, you can inspect the hard drive to make sure it's completely and utterly seated. Make sure that it's not loose. There's one screw that basically keeps it in position. So you've got a couple of choices at that point. You could either reseat it if you feel it is damaged, or you can install a new hard drive. Finally, there's also the software installation issue. So what you have to do is to restart your PS4 in safe mode. Now, the purpose, I'm sorry, I can't speak today. The purpose behind this is that you will then theoretically be able to see the screen at 480p. To do this, what you're going to have to do is press the power button on the front of the system. Once the PS4 is turned off, then you press and hold the power button, and then you've got to listen out for 2 beeps. One when you've initially pressed it, the other after 7 seconds. So in short, it'll be like beep, 7 seconds later, beep. Then you connect the DualShock controller through the USB cable, and then you press the PlayStation button on the controller itself. And what they're recommending you do then is that you change the resolution to 480p, you update the system software. You can do that via the internet or USB drive or whatever. Quite a few people have actually suggested that it's via a USB drive, and some people have said it works. Now, a couple of other solutions which are not Sony recommended, if you will, but I'm just going to give you them anyway. The first is that some users have stated that non-Sony HDMI cables can be an issue. So assume you've got a couple of HDMI cables, even if they work with another system. So if they work, for example, with the Xbox 360 or the PS3, or they work from your PC or whatever, it's not necessarily an indication that they're going to be happy and love for the PlayStation 4. So what you might have to do is either splurge out on an official Sony HDMI cable, or to just make sure that it's all okay. Now, I'm sure you might have also heard the second issue regarding HDMI, and that is that the pins on the HDMI cable can actually be damaged by a raised piece of metal in the HDMI port. What I'd highly recommend you do, regardless whether you've literally got your PlayStation 4 and you haven't even unpacked the bloody thing, it's sitting there in the box and you've not even touched it, check the HDMI port first, check the USB the HDMI cable first as well. Look at the pins, take a photo with your cell phone or whatever, just so you've got a visual record of what it looks like. Plug that cable into the HDMI port. And if you don't have a signal after that, then take the HDMI cable and see if there's any damage to it. They've also recommended, Sony, that do not call their hotline. They've actually recommended instead you use their live chat facility. One could only assume this is because they are basically being buried in phone calls right now. I obviously don't know if that's the case. Maybe it's for another reason. I would absolutely love to know what the failure is right now, but as of the time of recording, it's over 600 negative reviews on Amazon. One, however, must remember that a negative review on the internet, you're much more likely to get a negative than what you are a positive. Why? Because positive people are probably busy pew-pewing. In other words, they just simply haven't thought to review. On the other hand, let's assume you're waiting for a replacement PlayStation 4. What else are you going to do? You're just going to go on Amazon and start raging. Because, well, you've got nothing else to do. I guess we're just going to have to see what the end faulty numbers end up being. I am really hoping that they end up being low. I also pretty much bloody well hope that the Xbox One's numbers are extremely low as well. Regardless, I guess we're just going to have to see over the next couple of weeks. I'll see you soon. Take care. Bye for now.